I still remember the exact second my world tilted.
Keys are gone.
House isn't yours. Try surviving now. Tough girl. Smirking face. That single text from my mother sliced through the midnight, quiet, like a blade. No warning, no fight, just a digital eviction. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred, then did the unthinkable. I smirked. Because in that instant, I wasn't locked out. I was finally unlocked. Drop a heart below if your own blood ever ambushed you. Your war stories keep me sane. We lived on Willow Bend, the kind of cul-de-sac neighbors envied. Emerald lawn, navy shutters, Saturday barbecues thick with charcoal and fake laughter. From the sidewalk, we looked like a postcard. Inside, the frame was cracked. Dad, Victor Hale, ran the house like a job site. I was his unpaid foreman. Lena, steady the beam. Lena, fetch the drill. My palms were scarred before I turned 15, but he'd clap my shoulder and boast, better than any boy. Mom, Grace, floated in pastel cardigans murmuring, blood doesn't invoice. Translation: everything I poured in was rent I'd never collect. My younger sister, Sophie, got the spotlight. Porcelain skin, violin prodigy, zero calluses. I told myself balance was love. When the furnace died, my savings thawed it. When tuition shorted, my paycheck bridged it. By 23, I'd funneled north of 90 grand into the mortar of their comfort. They called it generosity. I called it gravity. The fracture started with a whisper I wasn't meant to hear. I came in from a drizzly shift, shoes squeaking, and caught Mom's voice through the pantry door. She thinks sweat equals shares. When we list Willow Bend, it'll just be us on the deed. Dad chuckled, low and oily. Lena's all heart, zero contract. Sophie hesitated. But she'll want. Mom cut her off. Want? Gifts don't buy equity. The words landed like gravel in my throat. I slipped upstairs, pulse strumming, and opened the blank spreadsheet. Columns bloomed. Date. Amount. Promise. By sunrise, I had a fortress of figures. I named the file reckoning. 2 nights later, the text arrived. I laughed, actually laughed, because cruelty that blatant is a gift wrapped in evidence. I brewed coffee, kissed my apartment silence, and went to war with receipts. Days blurred into forensic afternoons. I harvested old Venmo notes labeled loan, pay back soon. Utility stubs I'd covered while their brokerage sat fat, lumber invoices for the deck I built solo. $92,411. Dad always said I was the math wizard. He never guessed I'd weaponize it. I vetted lawyers like dates. The first 2 cooed sympathy. The third, Miss Park, scanned my ledger and whistled. Constructive trust. Promissory estoppel. You contributed under assurance of interest. That text? Gold-plated malice. I archived every fake check in voicemail. Every "we're broke" sob story. My nights hummed with printer heat and righteous fury. Spring unfurled. The trigger came in a crisp PDF. Pending sale, 412 Willow Bend. They'd scheduled closing without a whisper. I forwarded it to Ms. Park with 1 emoji, direct hit. Mediation day smelled of rain on concrete. I walked in clutching a slim accordion file, spine straight. Mom wore her Sunday camel coat. Dad's tie strangled his neck. Sophie twisted a silver ring until her knuckle blanched. Lena, honey, you look exhausted, Mom cooed. I smiled like winter. Funny. Exhaustion ends today. Ms. Park fan documents across the oak. Mortgage stubs, wire confirmations, the deck permit in my name. Dad barked. Gifts. She countered with his own texts. Borrow, not beg. Then she slid the lockout message, enlarged center stage. The mediator's eyebrows climbed. Dad's face went volcanic. Mom reached for his sleeve. He flinched away. Their attorney, a man whose tie had surrendered years ago, leaned in. Victor, Grace, we've got exposure. Call me soon as we're out. The same 5 words from my hook, now boomeranging. Mom's voice cracked. We're still family. I met her eyes. Family isn't a subscription you cancel when the bill arrives. Sophie whispered. I didn't know the numbers. I answered soft, lethal. You knew enough to wear the bracelet I funded. Silence pooled. Ms. Park closed. 50% equity or cash equivalent. The mediator nodded. The math was merciless. 6 weeks later the gavel fell. 50% mine. The house sold for 7 figures. After fees, my parents pocketed half their dream retirement. I bought a cedar-shingled cottage on the river, installed my own deadbolt, and hung the new key on a red ribbon. Some nights the phone glows, unknown number, no voicemail. I let it ring. The locks stayed changed. They thought exile would shrink me. Instead, it taught me scale. I'm not the girl who held the ladder anymore. I'm the architect who owns the sky.